Engaging the enemy in close quarters combat, infantry form the front line of most armies. What they lack for in speed, they make up for in ferocity and consistency. I am Malaise from Victory Through Failure. Let's take a look at some basic types of infantry in Total War. The Warhammer world is full of vicious monsters, and the first line of defense against these terrors is often the meat shield infantry. Perfectly designed to absorb ranged attacks, spells, and the thunderous charge of cavalry, these troops are designed to be expendable. By tying up enemy formations and absorbing punishing attacks, the meat shield infantry provide a cost-effective way to trivialize enemy strength. A longbow arrow can travel at over 200 feet per second, delivering devastating kinetic energy into its target from long range, unless that target has a shield, that is. When the enemy used ranged attacks to punish you from afar, shielded infantry will step into the spotlight. A shielded unit has a chance to block arrow attacks and bolts from the front, making them amazing counters to ranged heavy builds. Shielded units are also unable to block artillery shells and will deal less damage to units than two-handed or dual-wielded varieties. To counter the innumerable ways to die on the battlefield in Total War Warhammer, many units will utilize armor to reduce their mortality rates. Armor can reduce incoming damage, greatly increasing the armored unit's survivability. Enemy units with armor-piercing damage are natural counters, however, and armor does nothing to prevent impact damage. Impact damage is caused when two units collide, usually during the charge. From dragons to mounted knights, the Warhammer world has many large enemies, and the spearman steps forward to counter them. With a bonus versus large, these infantry units gain bonus damage against anything larger than a human. Many infantry units with bonus versus large also receive a charge defense, allowing them to nullify incoming enemy cavalry as long as they are braced for the impact. This specialization in anti-cavalry warfare has left them vulnerable to other types of infantry, however. When the enemy forms a seemingly unbreakable wall of bodies, the anti-infantry unit steps up. Designed to shred enemy infantry formations, they are quite proficient in this task. Their single-minded focus on killing power has left them more vulnerable in other areas though, such as defense. These troops should not be used right away, but instead should be held in reserve until an opportunity presents itself. When the enemy has more archers, has more swords, has more spears, and more halberds, the ghostly, ethereal infantry really begin to shine. With such high physical resistance, ethereal units can take astronomical levels of physical abuse before dying, giving them great power in tying down huge swaths of the enemy army for long periods of time. Their protection from physical damage comes with their spirit-like form, but this also makes them quite susceptible to magic damage. One of the most important parts of developing a strategy is understanding the enemy as accurately as possible, his or her approximate numerical strength, and the physical locations of his or her troops. Any unit can hide behind terrain features or within a forest, but stalking infantry can remain hidden in any terrain, even an open field, until they get very close to enemy units. This allows for tremendous flexibility on the battlefield, but they will make a priority for the enemy once spotted. Useful for creating surprise ambushes, protecting your back lines, or any other task which requires deception. Thank you for visiting Victory Through Failure, and consider watching some of our other videos in the Total War Warhammer series.